We are streaming on the Talking Toast page. We are streaming on the Christian Temple page. And we are almost streaming on YouTube.
Streaming!
We are live!
Woo!
Live! Welcome to Talk and Toast. Let us know where you are viewing from tonight.
And no matter what platform you are joining us from, you can comment and we can all see it.
That's exactly right.
So, 'tis the season to share.
Join us. It's Pentecost.
Not yet. Not yet. We've got about a minute or so. It is 8:27, so you have a few minutes to grab a friend, grab a drink, but don't grab your friend's drink.
That's right.
Unless you're bringing it to them. Which
That's
I
right.
did for you tonight.
Thank you so
Tonight
much.
we are drinking Austin, I think his name is Austin Hope Vineyards Troublemaker. It is fantastic wine.
I like Troublemaker. Charles Hudson suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Good
Shout
stuff.
out. Yes.
Good stuff.
All around. So, sounds good. Everything's all set. Just chime in and let us know where you're joining us from tonight.
Let us know.
And what platform you're watching.
What platform? Yeah, I'm noticing that the Apple camera is just a little bit clearer. You know what I mean? Like you see up in the top. I broke the tripod. I realized it. I don't know why it worked last week, but it is broken.
Well,
And so I'm gonna get a new tripod and go back to the.
it went the way
phones.
of all flesh.
It happens. It happens.
Planned
man.
obsolescence.
That's right.
Jim Keat, yes, we are also watching the Indiana Fever game. Caitlin Clark just got her first points, official points in her WNBA career. Oh my gosh. I just have to say, the way that the WNBA kind of embraced what was happening with the Caitlin Clark effect, churches can learn from that.
What can we learn from that?
There were 3 or 4 commercials introducing the WNBA to folks, basically saying like, I know you're used to this, but welcome to the WNBA. Welcome to the W. Mm-hmm. And it was just this like beautiful little on-ramp for folks like me who have not followed the WNBA since the beginning of the league.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, she just got a 3. What you can't see, Mom and everyone else, is that instead of having it up on the screen on our normal TV, we have it on a little TV over here.
That's right. So every once in a while, you'll see Katie's eyes glance in that direction.
Yep,
And that's
yep,
what she's
yep.
doing. Are you okay with this, or should I?
I'm great.
Okay.
I'm great.
You know how I am.
I know how you are, and
Okay.
everyone else knows how you are too.
Yes. Easily distracted. That's
yeah.
me.
But yes, Jim, we are watching and we are loving it. It's really exciting. We watched as a family. We watched Tip Off, both Tip Offs as a family. Mm-hmm. Man, if you haven't gone and watched the docu-series, the mini series,
Misery.
on Caitlin Clark, Camila Cardoso, and Kiki Rice, you gotta go do it.
What was it called again? It's Omaha Productions, but I can't remember what the Oh shoot!
I don't know. It's on ESPN Plus, but it is worth the 4 hours of your time.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
There's this funny joke that I'm kind of dogging you a little bit, but we were Katie was tired one night and we were flipping through.
This is like 2 years ago.
No, this was many years ago. I think we were.
Maybe we were in Carrollton.
Yeah, I think we were in Carrollton, Georgia.
It felt like yesterday.
And we were thumbing through trying to figure out what to watch. Drama, no. Comedy, no. Katie goes, Miniseries? What are you talking about?
I had never heard the word before.
It was miniseries.
Miniseries. There was a meme.
Miniseries.
There was a meme going around about a week. No, I guess 2 weeks ago now. making fun of Justin Timberlake for the way he pronounced May, and it's gonna be May.
Is there one word that you've ever pronounced
that you've ever regretted the way that you pronounced it wrong? And I have never felt such solidarity for Justin Timberlake as I did 2 weeks ago, because we were starting some miniseries, and you all also then brought it up that it was a misery.
It's perfect.
It comes up every time.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If I had done that, you would be.
Oh,
you would remind me every
until
time,
the end of time,
which is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Good stuff.
so welcome to Talking Toast. Sometimes we devolve or evolve, however you want to see it, into Sports Talk Radio, but here we are. It is May 14th. We are approaching Pentecost, which we'll talk about in a little while, but we're glad that you're here with us. We use Talking Toast as a time to start the creative process of unfolding whatever the sermons might be for the week. And we use it as a time really to make it conversational, to make, although we will have the mic, to make it more of a conversation than a monologue. So use your fingers and chime in and let us know what you're thinking about what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Because we do want this to be a conversation. We want it to be something that draws back that curtain on the creative process, but then also is a conversation, because things that happen in Talking Toast end up in sermons. They
Always.
end up in studies. They end up in regular conversations. So we're really, really glad that you're here tonight and participating.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So yeah, we start off every Talking Toast by asking, what is sustaining you? What is your 808 beat in hip-hop? What is the thing that is the undercurrent for you? What is saving your life right now, as Barbara Brown Taylor would say? What is getting you by? What is, getting you through in these moments? What's saving your life right now? Katie?
Oh, I was getting ready to ask you.
You were going to ask me first? Do you need a minute to think about it?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
So, what is saving my life? I've kind of got two things.
All right. And chime in, by the way.
We want to know. We want to know what's saving your life as well.
Sorry, I'm pointing to the chat window.
My mom said seeing old friends.
That's
I think
good
she
stuff.
saw her college roommate today.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So, for me, I've got two things that are saving my life right now. One is that I read one of the most delightful books that I've ever read. I don't give things a 5-star review on Storygraph, which shout out to Storygraph. If you've got a Storygraph, I'm Rev Schlemaway. But it's the non-Bezos version of Goodreads.
Oh, cool.
Which for book lovers, that means something.
All right, Storygraph.
So, Storygraph. It's really cool.
Learn something every day.
So, I read the most delightful book that I have read in a really long time, maybe ever, called The Psalm for the Wild Built, or A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And oh my gosh, it was so good. So I went on Sunday and picked it up on Mother's Day, and then went and I read over half of it on Sunday afternoon, and then I read the rest of it on Monday, and oh my goodness, it was glorious. It's so good. Run, don't walk. Go read it. I'm going to start the sequel probably tonight. Maybe after the basketball games. But so anyway, I did that. But then the other thing, and those of you who have been following me for a while know how big of a place in my life running is. Running holds, I guess. And I was able to start running yesterday. I ran,
awesome.
I did like a run walk kind of thing yesterday on the treadmill. And I did a run walk today, a little bit longer. But man, it feels good to get my legs moving like that again. I've been out for some time from ankle injury that I ended up having to get surgery for about 3 months ago. So anyway, feeling good now.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Fran Garrity Erickson said friends and family.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's good to see you in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's sustaining you?
What's sustaining me? And feel free to chime in, folks. Anything that's sustaining you in this time, and we'll give you a shout out. And yeah, I think what's sustaining me right now is music again. I had this kind of random Facebook message from a divinity school friend named Stephen Russ, who plays in a band called Brian K. and the Parkway. And so Saturday night, Stephen said, "Hey, we're playing at Monument City Brewing in Baltimore, and the doors open at 7." I was like, "All right, be there at 7 because I'm old." And so I went and had the best time, and man, it gave me the music bug again,
Yep.
and was really awesome. And then a couple days later, I was messaging back and forth, and Steven said, "Hey, you want to come open up for our band in September?" And so, yeah, I'm getting back on the playing field, my playing field at least.
What's been cool about that is y'all can't see this, but he's got a whole setup down here beside my desk, and you just jammed out for a while yesterday.
That's what I've been doing, and it's been giving me so much life. And Sonia Scott said, "Seeing my family Mother's Day is sustaining me." That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because I'm glad that that's sustaining you. What sustains Katie is not seeing any of us.
Come on.
What we do. No, I'm joking around, but but seriously, what we do for Katie every Mother's Day is you've got a day. You do whatever you want to do with it. Here's cash. Go.
It sounds bad.
That doesn't sound bad. You said it was the most life-giving thing in the world.
It's so great because as an introvert who is a parent of an extrovert, married to an extrovert, it's a lot to be in the Calloway house sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I literally did not talk to anybody, like barely even talked to the bookseller at the bookstore, and went, and it was nice.
Well, good. Yeah.
But it sounds kind of bad. Like I've got to escape my family.
No. We all need that time away. Everybody needs that time away. It doesn't matter if you're extroverted, introverted, whoever. We all need that time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you had a good time.
It was good.
So, yeah, Pentecost.
So,
Where yawning already?
Sorry.
Wake up.
It's been one of those days. So this week is Pentecost.
It is.
Which is early for Pentecost. So Pentecost is 50 days after Easter.
Can you believe we're already there?
And I cannot believe it. Normally Pentecost falls when Easter falls later. Easter was really early this year. When Easter falls later, Pentecost falls like mid-June sometimes. So it's kind of wild. We're mid-May and celebrating Pentecost, but alas, here we are. And we'll talk about that for a minute, but we'll get to the Pentecost thing in a minute. I'm not watching it. We'll get to the Pentecost thing in a minute, but at Christian Temple, the tradition is Pentecost is the day of baptisms. So we're inheriting this really interesting tradition, where we're kind of marrying two liturgical celebrations into one, and I think it's going to be really neat.
I'm really excited about it, and it's very interesting because a lot of times, the tradition was that Lent, the season of Lent, was a period of fasting by the church to prepare the people who were going to be baptized on Easter Sunday. And so a lot of churches do baptisms on Easter Sunday still. But I love that this is a little bit different here. And I don't know when it started or who started it, but I love it because it takes place at the birth of the church.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When the Spirit moves. And and there's something about water and fire together that just makes sense.
And yeah, they're both uncontainable. They're both very powerful. And they both carry with them a sense of transformation. And so we're going to get to kind of play with that water and fire imagery this week.
I'm excited about that. So first off, with the baptism side of this, I will be preaching from Mark 1 verses, I can't see what that is. I think it's 9. Yeah, 1 verses 9 through 11. And then and I'm just we're doing shorter homilies this week because we're doing a lot of different things.
There's a lot happening.
Our children are going to be leading us in most of worship, which is really awesome. And so yeah, we're going to be doing all that. And then so I'll talk first about baptism. And in baptism, I'm basically talking about when the Spirit moves there.
There, as in Jesus is a baptism.
Yes, Jesus comes up out of the water, and in this Mark passage, the Spirit comes down like a dove, and then and so this, and then you hear, "This is my Son, my beloved, in whom I'm well pleased," and there's always the message of, this is Jesus's start, like this is the beginning. Mm-hmm. This is him being blessed right off the bat.
Yep.
So it might kind of go with that, but also there's the understanding that he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And he's already my beloved. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's something there about talking about the baptismal candidates as you're already beloved.
Yeah.
But this is just a symbol of that.
Yeah. Yeah. They haven't done anything yet, just like he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, and maybe they have. Maybe, we don't have we have one story at 12 years old.
Yeah.
And we have nothing before that, except for birth narratives and then a family escape maybe 2 years after birth. That's it.
Yeah.
Escape into Egypt. And then we don't hear anything about Jesus's childhood or anything else. So I'm wondering what else could be in there. Maybe he has done something. Maybe there has been something that's been life.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that yet, but that does, like, by saying like he hasn't done anything yet, that does devalue his coming of age.
Yeah, and childhood period.
And childhood
right?
period.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an opportunity to say, like, he's done a lot. Yeah. He's lived a lot, and he's developed, and that is something powerful, and that is something, and he is beloved in the midst of that.
Yeah, in the midst.
Yeah.
And our children are leading us, so it's the perfect time to say, like, they're a valued part right now. They're beloved right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
it's like the people who say that the children are the future of the church.
Yeah, our children are our future. Like,
really?
Nope, they're here.
Present. They're
right here.
Because by saying they're our future, what you're saying is that they don't matter right now, and so
that's the
or they matter less.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to maybe combine the two. Like, they are both our future and our present.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Joanne Spence says hi, y'all. Hey, Joanne Spence, and congratulations, Dr. Spence.
Dr. Spence.
That's awesome. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that just gave me somewhere to go. I was kind of wondering where I was going to go, and then talking out loud about it always helps.
It does. It does.
So if that resonates, if anything resonates with you in there, if you have thoughts about children and being valued, chime in. Let us know. So you've got the Pentecost passage that is chosen in the lectionary.
Yeah, so this week's lectionary, and this is the famous Pentecost passage from Acts 2, where, the Spirit falls on people and they start hearing things. They start hearing their own language in spite of being outside of their own home. So basically, Pentecost was actually a Jewish celebration, and it was a pilgrimage. And so people would gather 50 days after the harvest, or after Passover, for this Pentecost celebration. And so this first Christian celebration of Pentecost, loosely termed that, but this celebration that we have in Acts of Pentecost was a gathering And people came from all over the known world. And they come to Jerusalem, and all of the sudden, they start hearing in their own language. It's this mystery of understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, and not just hearing, but they start understanding in all the different languages.
Which hearing and understanding is very different, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, people start acting they get ecstatic about this because they're in this foreign land and they're hearing their own language. And so they are mistaken for being drunk, first of all, which is absolutely hilarious. And the response is, no, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning.
They can't be drunk.
They can't be drunk, which is hilarious. Yeah. But to me, what I really love about Pentecost, and I'm interested to see how this, it's one thing to say something explicitly, and it's another thing to let the setting speak implicitly. I'm interested to hear the implicit lesson that people take away from this text, given the context of Pentecost and baptism. Because here's the way I see Pentecost. It is this statement. A lot of people call it the birth of the church, and that's great. It kind of is. But it's this statement of inclusion for outsiders, saying that this was never meant to be a movement for the insiders only, that the outsiders are absolutely the focus. And
so how's that for a birth?
So how's
I
mean?
How's
that for a birth of the church?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because these baptism is seen as the official entrance into the church. And we're doing it at the same time as we're reading this text that is saying this message that is, there are no outsiders. And so I find myself really wanting to emphasize that there are no outsiders, and recognizing the importance of this ritual. I think we can hang on to both. I think we can hang on to the importance, the centrality of this ritual of baptism as the entry point into the church, and we can hang on to the fact that in the church there are no outsiders.
Yeah. It's both and.
Right? It has to be a both and.
Yeah. I think about, in those kind of situations, there's this great David Wilcox song. And if you go watch on YouTube, type in David Wilcox Beyond Belief.
It's so good.
And it's wonderful. And there's one that was done like 16 years ago. And this is the one. And David Wilcox is speaking.
We'll post the link in the chat.
Yeah, I can do that. He basically says, in this video, he's kind of telling a story. He's like, people build up all these walls and all these different kinds of things, trying to build a church, and then trying to build their little place, and then they look around. They build it around Christianity or build it around Jesus. And then they look and they're like, where's Jesus? And they look and Jesus is always on the other side of the wall, right? Yeah. He's always on the other side of whatever. And so it's not saying that the Spirit can't move within. The Spirit can move within, but the Spirit, we've also got to remember that the Spirit is not controlled. The Spirit is not controlled by us.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, if the Spirit was all controlled by me, we'd all be watching women's basketball right now. As if we aren't. No,
well, we're not right now.
We're not right now. But God is far more inclusive than we could ever fathom, and than we could ever act out. And I think that's what we see in this birthing of this movement that the birth pangs of the church are the cries for inclusion.
Yeah.
How's
Absolutely.
that for a sentence? The birth pangs of the church are the cries for inclusion.
That's a really good line.
Boom!
If that doesn't show up in your homily on Sunday, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, so good. So good.
Well, I feel like we've got some direction on both
we
of
do.
those.
We do. So, join us on Sunday if you're in the area, and if you're not, tune in and see what we do with it. And then we'll be back next week to do it again.
To do it all again. Yeah. And I guess we're ending a little, like, well, not early. It's kind of right on time tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this. And also, I wanted to say that if you go look at the Riverside Church today, which is Jim Keat chimed in on YouTube. If you go look at the Riverside Church's Facebook page today and on YouTube.
And Instagram.
They post this really, really neat thing. It's called Bible in a Minute. They're going through and spending 1 minute having different theologians and pastors and all different kinds of folks adding
some
in
really
their
shady
voices,
characters.
adding in their voices for 1 minute of kind of recapping Scripture. And so every chapter in the Bible gets 1 minute. So Genesis 1 minute. I don't know how that person did it at Genesis 1 on 1 minute, but I'll have to go look. I bet it was Jim.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm sure. And then so they're all the way up to Ruth, and that they're end of Ruth right now. And they asked Katie Calloway to do the end of Ruth, and so this is really exciting.
It was fun.
So it posted today, and that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've done some talking.
It's time to do some toasting.
We need to do some toasting. Can you start us off?
Yeah. May you go from this place, friends, wherever you are, and remember that the cries for inclusion are the birth pangs of something way bigger than we could have ever fathomed.
And may the power of water stir within your world and help you to grow something that's beyond belief.
Cheers.
Cheers, friends.
Cheers, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And go Fever.
Go Fever. Well, I think that's about it for tonight.
We'll do it again next week.
We should.
Same bat time, same bat place.
Yep. So thank you for folks who are watching on YouTube. Thank you for folks who are watching on Facebook in both places, Christian Temple and at Talking Toast. And yeah. And the other thing I was going to say is that we've got some fun things planned for this summer. We're kind of thinking about some different ideas, and so some interactive things with you all. And this is going to be good. Good stuff. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.